looky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
Every day at this time, I have to go back to my phone to see exactly what episode we're on. I scroll through to the Apple Podcast app, and I notice that we are on episode 253 of the Pat and JT podcast. We've been doing 253 consecutive days we've done a podcast.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. It's very crazy.
Because you figure before working the 5 days a week, so you do maybe about 250 days a week or a year, less than 250 days a year you work, because you take 5 times 52. Yeah, 365 days. Take out your weekends, plus take a couple weeks out. Vacation days, sick days.
So we've
already worked more than a year in less than
11 months.
March, June, July, August, September. 6 months.
Wow. Good Lord.
We've worked a year and 6 months. So we should get the rest of the year off.
Seriously. Where do we submit our PTO for that one?
Anybody follow along with that math? Because I can't show my math.
You know what? I believed you.
I did it in my head.
I believed you. It didn't matter. So thanks for listening to the Pat and JT podcast.
Yes.
Texting phone number is 402-403-9478. Love getting your texts, and I love it when they just randomly come in at 11:30 at night talking about something we talked about 3 weeks ago. That's my favorite part of podcasting. There is really no clock on it.
No, there isn't. So you never know when somebody's going to hit something that strikes them.
Becca texted 402-403-9478. Said, Pat and JT, why has no one mentioned that Julie Cornell has the best phone sex voice? Well, Becca, you just did.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You get that credit on your resume.
Nice job,
so,
Becca.
Thank you for that. We will pass it along.
And this is from No Name. Last 4 numbers of her phone, 3119. And it could be a boy.
Right now I'm betting Becca wishes she was no name.
Probably.
No name.
No name. It says, love the podcast. I wish I had known about it sooner. I turned the radio on one day and you guys were just gone. So glad to see that you guys are back. Regarding things you don't realize you have to teach your kids. We talked about in yesterday's episode about the scraper.
Yes, using because now Bennett's driving to school. That you have to give him credit though, because up till this point he rides along, and as anybody if you just ride along, you really don't pay attention to what's going on around you. And so then all of a sudden you are thrown into the driver's seat and now you're responsible for all that stuff.
Well, and when I get his attention and I make him look in my eyes, he doesn't listen. Like kids just don't listen. Right. So anyway, regarding things you don't realize you have to teach your kids, because it surprised me when it happened. This is my PSA for any new or soon to be parents. You're going to find yourself someday teaching your kids how to operate toilet paper. Amen to that one.
Yeah.
Yes, you will do this more in depth and more often than you ever dreamed. It's not something they just automatically know.
It's things you pick up, however it happens. It's just funny is that I just don't remember being taught those things. Like you were saying, you don't remember anybody stopping down and saying, "Okay, we're going to teach you a lesson." Right. It just happened.
It's probably more trial and error than anything. You know, like with the toilet paper situation, whether you fold, whether you crinkle, whether you front to back to
front.
We
had that conversation. Well, there's a rule about that.
Especially for girls, especially.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But just the whole rolling, crinkling, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Or wadding, folding.
Whatever.
If you use the paper that has ridges, you don't need to wad.
Yeah, but I don't.
You can make it nice and neat.
Make what nice and neat? Oh, the
toilet paper.
Who cares if the toilet paper is wiping your butthole? Who cares if it's nice and neat?
So it's covering everything, and there aren't air pockets that are missing places.
That's why you swipe. Go do a couple flybys. Get those air pockets. Oh my gosh, so it's all nice and neat.
Whatever. And also why you have wet ones in the bottom drawer.
Oh, best ever. There have been a couple times where you get a little nervous if it's taking a little more coats of paint than you feel like
and
it should.
And you're feeling like, good Lord, is this the first time I've done this?
Did it close? Is it wide open? Like, did I forget to close that up?
I've never thought that. Oh. I just thought all of a sudden I forgot how to do this right. What the hell?
Yeah. Okay. So
there's still is. You have to continue until you get it all.
Right. It's exactly my point. But I would say after 3 flushes, 15 wipes, you don't and still the hue is exactly the same. It's like, what is going on? What on earth?
Because if you stop,
You can't stop.
You can't.
No, you have to keep going. But that's my
That's
point.
when
Is
you
like
grab for the cottonelle though, because by that point you get the wet ones or the wet wipes.
no, that's when you say F it. I'm getting in the shower. You ever done that?
No, I haven't been to
Yes.
that point. Okay.
Yes, especially if you go on like a more fiber, more whatever, more veggies deal. Man,
I'll remember that. Okay, thank you.
so frustrating. Yeah.
All right, did you have anything else you wanted to add to this
yeah,
story?
well, I
Any other,
think-
any other?
And now,
was just
our
looking for
friend Damon
messages.
Benning a long time ago, we've kind of made fun of him, at least I did, for he would always go number 2 and then get in the shower. Like he timed it.
Well, he has, let's just say this. Okay. We got to know DB pretty well because we were next door studio, right? We were right next door to each other. And whenever they were on a break, he'd wander around and he'd end up in our studio and then he'd get to be on our show, which was great. But we found out a lot of things about him that we shouldn't know. But that whole deal, he is so regulated
Yeah.
as far as when he eats, what he eats, and where he eats, because he would not eat when he was at work. I don't remember him ever eating anything.
I don't think he
at
ever
work.
did.
The only thing I ever saw him do is maybe a shake.
Right. Yeah, he didn't.
But he didn't eat because
But then he also timed his deuces before the
Because
shower because he
that's
was very
why.
clean.
because
He was very clean.
He knew if he ate, because his body was like
Yeah.
in tune, that if you eat, then if
But
A, then B.
It's totally
And
true.
so-
Just like at a club, 1 out, 1 in.
right?
So, but if you're actually 1 out, 1 in, 2 out, technically. But if you're,
okay.
if it all revolves around the cleanliness, because he would eat at work if he could time the other thing, so he didn't have to do it.
But he didn't
wanted
want to do that at work.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because then he also, after he did that, he had to take a shower.
Right. That's the whole point of that whole
Whether
thing.
or
And I
not
completely
whether or not
understand.
it was a mess. He never said whether or not it was a mess.
I have a. No matter what, I don't care who you are. It's a mess. And yes, Mom, girls do fart. I grew up thinking girls didn't do that stuff.
Seriously?
Mhm. Yeah, my mom. I've never heard my mom ever toot. I never heard my grandma ever do it ever.
Oh, I haven't heard. No, I don't remember ever hearing any of them.
Yeah. So
in my
but-
family.
Yeah.
But I sure knew. I knew girls tooted.
Well, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I knew for sure. Yeah, absolutely, positively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they're
Anyway.
So yeah, 402-403-9478. Thank you for your text. You can also It's Pat and JT, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
So I got the 2 cats.
Yeah.
And last week adopted, and they went to the vet. Got to see Dr. Arndt at Harvey Oaks, and he did a free once over. It's kind of
Everything's good?
Flyby. Yeah, because the one I told you, they had the ear mites, and
Yeah.
they had this, and they had that. Because they were both 5 pounds when
As
they were brought
adults?
in. They were 5 and 8 years old.
Good Lord.
And the bigger of the 2 now, he's got to be 10 pounds now, and she's probably 7 or 8, probably about 8 pounds.
That's
She's not very
incredible.
big.
5 pounds.
I was looking through their paperwork, and they were both 5 pounds when they were brought in. They were just bag of bones, and they had the ear mites, and so in particular the Dexter, he did much more scratching, whatever it was that was the ears. I'm not sure if it's necessarily mites, but they were both treated. Anyway, so we got to keep our eye on that because it's either allergies or mites, but there was just like a little red area. He hadn't broken the skin, and we weren't sure if he'd been scratching or if it was just red. So I got to keep my eye on that because may have to get a shot, get some steroids. If I can let him or convince him to let me come near him. I let him out of the laundry room. So they have a gate and it has a little door at the bottom that they can go in and out.
Yeah.
And the dog can't get in. The dog knows
So he's
they're
seen
around.
them?
He has seen them.
Would he freak out?
He just kind of like, ooh. And he looked over.
What's
They
that?
looked at me. They looked over. It's like, that's not my black cat. I remember my black cat. That's
There
not
are
my
more
black
of
cat.
these in the world? I thought there was just that one.
These are gray and they're floofy. They're real floofy. Both of them are floofy. And they walk around like they don't care. They don't care.
It's
She
gotta
walks
drive him
around, she
nuts.
looks at him and she's like,
That's
walk.
going to drive him crazy.
Oh my God.
It's going to drive him nuts.
Now she's this morning. Well, I ran home today and I walked in the front door and there's silence, just so quiet in the house. And I'm looking around and there she is on the couch, curled up on a blanket, sound asleep. And she woke up then right as I was standing there and looks at me like, what, you're back?
Oh, we got rid of you.
And don't even think about coming over. Oh God, here she comes. She's coming in to hug me. Oh my God. And I didn't pick her up. I just sat next to her and scratched her neck a little bit. Not one purr. Not one.
I love it.
So my life right now is 2 cats, 1 dog. and I'm basically just feeding those 2 and they hate me.
Hey, you have teenagers basically, right?
I think I do.
So what you do,
They're 5 and 8.
You want to go to the couch, you go over there, they don't touch you, no purring, you just feed them and they hate you.
You're going to sit on the couch, then I'm going downstairs.
Yeah.
And that's exactly. And then Dexter, he came, then I went into another room and he shot out of that room, stops about 6 feet away from me, turns around and shoots me a glance. Like, what the hell are you back home for? God, I had to go to the bathroom. Then he was just coming out of his laundry room.
I love it. I know cats can be such jerks sometimes, but they have the best personalities. Like they have great, dogs obviously do too,
Yeah.
but cats just have the best snooty personalities. It's
And
the
on
best.
top of it, I'm going to say too that they both obviously developed mannerisms as a means of survival. So there isn't a lot of trust to go around right now. And it's going to take some time before they before they even consider that I'm necessary.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time. We'll figure it out.
Right. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll get there.
I'll just keep filling their bowl, throwing some catnip, clean their litter box, and stay out of the way. That's my job.
That. We put a cat door in the laundry room door because that's where the litter is, right? So we put a cat door in there, and it took them a day to figure that out, but now they're cruising through it. The actual door that hangs down, like the little floppy thing, isn't in yet. I mean, we're going to get either maybe yes or no. Who knows?
Does it look like a mouse hole?
No, it's square. It's got a picture frame. It's kind of a picture frame around it.
The one that I loved, it looks like it's a mouse hole, and it looks like something out of
like Alice in Wonderland.
Dr. Seuss.
That's
it's like smaller at the bottom, and then it kind of
like Bugs Bunny, like a fat.
Yes,
one.
It's not. It's whatever.
It's not like an actual mouse hole.
No.
It's like cartoony.
And it's not. It's irregular shape.
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
Real cartoony looking, and you just cut out the bottom of the door, and then that pops
perfect.
right in, and then they can run zip right through
love
the door. It's awesome.
Well, when the furnace kicks on, random when it doesn't kick on very much, but when it does, the cats come. I don't care what they're doing. Could be bath time, eating, so it doesn't matter. They run for a register and they lay it. I got to post a picture of Molly laying it. They just lay on it. And I was down in the basement, and the basement, the laundry room door is between me and the stairs upstairs. And Molly was in Dukin, right?
Yeah.
Furnace kicks on. All of a sudden I hear like she's covering up the poop real quick, and like 100 miles. If she had been a half-inch taller or wider, she would have knocked herself out on that cat door. Screamed through the door, up the stairs, you can hear her run across the living room, and I go upstairs and she's underneath the TV, just laying there
on the vent.
Hilarious.
Do you remember when I used to have pictures of both the dogs and the cats? They would do that. Air and, whether summer or winter.
I mean, why not?
And in the kitchen where I sat, there was the one register. So it didn't matter. In the summertime, it's hot as Hades in there because they're soaking up all the air conditioning. Right. Or in the middle of winter, I'm freezing because
they're
covering up the entire register.
What a great life. They sit on the register 90% of the time, and they can give themselves baths, and they just sit all day.
Just sit and wait for somebody to feed them.
A glorious life.
Bowl, right?
So you sent me on a little, I'm developing, I think, first of all, I think I have low T. We've talked about that before. And one of the symptoms of low T is increased anxiety. I've always been kind of an anxious person, but it's never been like.
I don't know if you can blame that.
Well, I've always been
anxious.
I've always had anxiety.
Yeah.
But like I get scared and not scared is a wrong word, but like.
It's like test time.
Okay, so what you sent me someplace today while you're painting the office. You sent me to go get some screws for a project route. So I'm like,
I need some screws and some spacers.
And you would think
some stuff that I was hanging.
You would think it's like it's not that hard. But I am so intimidated by certain parts of the hardware store where it gets into like intricate little pieces like wood, 2x4, no big deal. Okay. I can do that fine. But when you're asking for a size, 8 inch and a quarter screw and I'm thinking, okay, then I walk down the screw aisle and there's machine screws, metal screws, stainless steel screws, wood screws.
Right. I needed sheet metal screws is what I needed. As it turned out.
I think I got one. Because I matched the head. The head's bubbly, like a bumpy. It's bumped up.
But it was too big.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever. The head was too big, right? So you need to give me detailed, but I get in those situations. I sent
you pictures.
You did, and that's how I got the right head. But I couldn't tell. I didn't know one bumpy head. What's that called? Just a bump. I mean, the head is like a bubble.
Well, some are flat.
Right. This one isn't that.
Right.
This is the other one.
Right.
That's and it's Phillips. So I got that right.
You got that right.
I did get that, but that doesn't matter. But
that's good.
I'm in the. getting anxiety now just thinking about it. Because I'm in that aisle and I see all the screws.
Yeah.
All of them.
And you're thinking, I'm screwed.
I'm screwed. I'm screwed. And it's so overwhelming and so confusing because you know that if you don't get the exact right thing, it's not going to work.
Right.
And there are a million things, a million
Right.
screws and nuts and bolts and all that stuff.
And I knew it says I needed just because I already had the anchors.
Yeah.
And then what I was hanging, we're hanging some pegboard is what we were doing, but we wanted it to be able to just pop on or pop off instead of actually screwing it straight to the wall, and have little spacers behind it so you don't damage the wall. And so it had to be the right size for the anchors, and also so it would slip through.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
And so I took a picture next to. I had two things. I had
I didn't know what you were
measuring
doing.
tape.
You were
so
setting
could see
me up
how
so I
long they
didn't
were.
fail. So you said measuring tape, a drill bit,
and then here's
a
an
screw.
1/8 inch drill bit. So for size, for scale, here's the screw that we've got, and I just need this screw, but I need this size, and I'm like, put all the information in a picture.
And as soon as I see that, I think, oh bleep. And it took me a lot longer than it should have because I didn't.
You tried to do it yourself.
I tried, and then the lady that I asked didn't have all the answers, and it just was too much.
Oh my god, yeah. I understand. I am to the point. I like going to Ace Hardware. I like Ace, any of the stores actually, though. But you got to find the person that works in that department.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But if you don't, that's another frustrating thing because you're walking around and there's nobody in the department.
I know.
And you go over to wash machines or whatever, and then you ask that guy, and he literally wow.
Yeah, I know. That's why you got to go to the front. Say, I need the person that works over there.
Have you ever asked somebody like say it's the guy in the screw aisle,
Okay.
the screw guy. You go to the screw guy and he's with somebody
The
like
fasteners guy. is what
fasteners
he'd
guy.
be. He'd be
Go to the
fasteners,
fasteners guy. And you go up and you ask him, but he's in the middle of a project doing something. He's like, yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
right with you, no problem.
Yes.
It's like, well, I'm going to go find somebody else. You go find somebody else, and they get on their headphone to the screw guy. And he's like, yeah, Randy, you don't know his name, is in aisle whatever. You go back, and it's the screw guy.
It's a screw
and you're like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to pester you.
I was trying to leapfrog you.
Right.
'Cause I wanted to
Right,
find
then you
some-
feel terrible. Like, sorry, Randy.
You told me you were busy, and I'm like, I'm moving on.
Right, I'm done.
I'm breaking up. I'm moving on. I'm going to go ask somebody else.
Done.
But yeah, so we got everything we needed. We painted the room. Oh, that was another debacle too. Is we had paint, and we've used the paint and gotten more paint. As a matter of fact, the same color. I think you've got that big 5-gallon thing of it too, don't
It's
you?
different. That's different. It's a lighter. It's a
different one?
lighter gray. Yeah.
But I know what they say when you get paint. You're supposed to get as much as you need for the whole project because otherwise tonalities and depth and
Blah,
blah blah,
blah.
they won't match. And I've never had that problem. Maybe I've just lucked out. But you said it earlier. The way it's all computerized now,
There should be a difference.
what's the variance? I don't understand. What's that? What's the it factor that causes it to be a different color? Because that's what we did.
We found that it factor. Because you painted what on Friday? Was it Friday you painted for probably 2 hours,
Yeah.
if not longer. Today you were a good 4 hours in there painting.
I painted till we were out of paint.
Right. And you go in and it looks like two people painted with two different colors with 2 different gallons of paint. And the roller you had was like a pencil on a stick. So it took
because the roller I had, the regular size, I forgot to get a replacement for because I threw the other one away because I was done with it. And so I said, and I look and I'm like, all I've got is the little baby roller.
Like when you hear somebody rolling paint, you hear shh, 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 shh. When you heard Jill in there, it was because the little thing is fun. You'd have to rejuice that roller every about 5 minutes.
So I
Not
said,
even
like,
every
fill
5
it-
seconds.
Fill it with an eyedropper.
Oh
it was
my God.
just ridiculous.
It looked like you had worn it to the nubs, like you had a normal roller,
Right.
but you worked it so hard that it shrunk down.
So what our room right now looks like 2 different city coordinators were working from the east and west side of town, and they met up in the middle, and their streets don't match.
Yep, that's exactly.
That's what
it looks like.
this room looks like.
So if you're in the storage room at Parkville Media, that's exactly what it looks like.
So we'll be repainting
Yeah,
that again.
whatever. It looks fine.
For right now. And then the other thing is they're 10-foot walls. And so I could only get up to within about an inch, as high as I could reach with the roller.
With the baby roller.
Yeah. And so the very top isn't cut in because I don't have a high enough
whatever.
ladder to cut it in. So we have about an inch that it's old
Cutting
color.
it is the worst anyway. Cutting it is the absolute worst.
I'm getting better at it as I go. But I will say this though. So right now it's all the way up. And when I look, if we just keep everybody's eyes down low,
If they start acting like they look up, just go, hey,
shiny nickel,
hey,
throw something on the
throw
floor.
a pencil over on the floor. Hey, keep them up, keep them down, keep them down here.
So it's a try. But anyway, yeah, we're moved into our new studios. We've talked about that before. I absolutely love the new studio.
This is John Oakey when we recorded him and his wife for our 2 episodes. It was
Yes.
in our new little studio area. So it's not like a huge, it was just across the hall. But
it's
so much better.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
the whole atmosphere in here is completely different, and it does and he was the first one. He's the only one that's recorded in here except for us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As a matter of fact, and Julie was the last one we recorded in the old studio.
Yep.
And we haven't had, and our clients, they'll be coming in tomorrow.
Yeah, first ones.
Today, somewhat by design, I don't know, but we had stuff we needed to get done, and so fortunately, we didn't have anybody, that we had to worry about. Thank God, they didn't have to watch this mess.
You're cussing, throwing,
and then while we were doing that, the property management, they decided today was a good day to get ready for winter. And
I actually videoed the guy outside the window of my office, and it's the whatever that thing is, hedge trimmer, but it's like on steroids, because usually you plug it into the wall and it goes twee and it cuts. This thing gas powered. Dude had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth with a cherry. I videoed it. I videoed like 5 seconds of it,
great.
And it's like, I'm like, great day to record audio at Parkville Media. And you look out, the guy's smoking.
Thank God we didn't have anybody. Thank God, because we would have had to
loud.
reschedule. But they had that thing. It was like, it's like a chainsaw, but it's not a chainsaw. It is basically a big hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
And he was just knocking everything off at the nub.
So yeah, I've got a little video of that. It's on our Facebook page. You can look at that. That's what we were dealing with today. Yeah.
Super excited too. Also, Halloween Day, we will have a special guest joining us.
Right.
And they're paranormal investigators from the vicinity. We've never talked to them before.
So it'll be episode 255.
Yeah, so super excited. So be watching for the Halloween, and we'll try and get something else in here these last few days of October.
We'll try. We're trying to get a hold of round our peeps up. Okay, so quick update on Toon Blast. Have you started your team yet?
No, I still don't have a name.
Okay,
but I will tell you where I'm at though. Because hold on.
Oh,
here.
I haven't.
Do you have an idea?
Oh, I don't. I can. Do I have an idea? Oh, I thought you meant like an idea where you were.
No.
I'm just collecting our team chest, 300 coins, and no big deal. My team is is performing very well.
So
at a very high level.
I did the star tournament. Yeah, by accident. So I was ranked number 40. So I got to do that again.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me go back here.
If you're not playing Toon Blast, you need to download Toon Blast. This is not a sponsored ad or anything. It's just
we get nothing for this.
Right. The best thing, my best life, when I'm living my best life, I'm on the couch. It's 8:30 at night. I'm playing Toon Blast and watching something on Bravo.
She's so glad she got married to you.
She is.
Anyway.
We're the same person, because that's exactly what. If you could ask her, she's doing a puzzle. She's doing a puzzle.
He just shuts up and goes over there.
Yep.
Level 36 is what I'm at.
Whoa, no big deal.
Now. And I just got another die. That's awesome. So I just claimed that. Yeah. So all good. So I've got my start. Okay, whatever.
You got to. So you got to start rolling. Get that team together.
I gotta get a name.
402-403-9478.
What should I name my Team Blast team?
Yeah, suggest something.
And the reason why we're doing this is because Pat won't let me on his.
Right, I can't. Whatever. Well, I think it's more fun. I'm on level 1,793. No big deal, but
that's almost embarrassing.
Yeah, believe me, I know. But what's more embarrassing is that Angie and Beth can't play anymore because they're already at the ceiling. They have to wait for every Monday when they release 50 new episodes or new levels.
Oh my God.
That's why Beth was playing a puzzle. You think she'd pick a puzzle over Toon Blast? No. I marry up, man. I marry for her Toon Blast game.
I was going to say something. I'm not going to. It's like you fall down, you marry up.
That's right. Whatever. Hey, as long as I'm coming up when she's falling down, I grab her. I got it.
I still wonder. I wish. See, on Facebook, my Facebook is gone. My Facebook that I have now was Doogie's.
Okay.
Honestly.
And you're making fun of.
So
do you hear that sentence? And you're making fun of me.
So I don't have access to my old Farmville page. I'm just curious. I can't remember how far I got on Farmville.
I'm probably pretty high.
Embarrassingly high.
Yeah,
enough to where I actually did throw in a few pennies so I could get some extra stuff.
Of course you did. You will on Toon Blast eventually. I've probably spent $5 or less on Toon Blast.
Dang it. Why can't we come up with a game like that?
I know. It's
Why?
so easy. It's
just
so
one
simple.
Game.
One game. One game.
Dang it.
Well, first of all, we need one name for JT's team. So text it in, go to Facebook, whatever. We'll suggest it, and then got to wrap that up. And also, for the record, 7 days pee-free. Have not peed in the closet in 7 days. This is my big 1 week anniversary.
And you
so
even had, I'm guessing you had drinks this weekend.
Had new coconut vodka and Coke on Saturday. And then yesterday, I don't know if we had cocktails yesterday. No, I don't think we did. Saturday we did.
I didn't even have to question.
Yeah.
Did I have something?
Right. What is it? A day? Sure did.
Yes.
Totally
I
did.
did. Oh, by the way, I did make my homemade Kahlua with Swerve.
Okay.
Because some people said to try that because I used stevia. And I used the stevia that's in the green bag.
Okay.
It's like the name brand. It's not the Kroger's with some stevia extract or something like that. It's not that. It's the actual. And I like it, but it does have a little bit of an aftertaste. I don't know if I like the Swerve.
Yeah.
It tastes different, and it mixes and it feels like sugar, granulated sugar.
Okay. And that's not even a necessity if you're baking. Who cares if it feels like it, right?
No, and it
Yeah.
measures the same which stevia does.
Right.
It's
All right. Well, just go back. Whatever makes you
I
feel
don't know.
good.
So I have two. I made two.
It's the end result.
gallons. I made one with Swerve and one with.
And I'm on level
Stevia.
1,794 of Toon Blast.
Who's winning?
I know it. You guys decide. Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Pat and JT Podcast. A Parkville Media Production.